So, in keeping with the theme of last week's video, talking about faith and that faith relieves us to be obedient, not have to worry about whether or not we measure up because Christ measures up, all that stuff. Thought I would just kind of continue with that theme. And I want to kick off with Hebrews. And Hebrews 11 tells us that it gives us kind of a definition of faith. It talks about how faith is the confidence of things hoped for, the substance of things not seen. And that idea of faith is a confidence in things hoped for. That's not wishful thinking or anything like that. It's an expectant hope. I expect this to happen. I plan for it. I'm preparing for it. I'm convicted and convinced that it will be. So when we think about faith in that regard, it very much changes things. That's why faith is so fickle in the first place, because it's so dependent on how deeply we are convicted or convinced about something. But ultimately, what that does is when we're actually living out our faith, or when we have faith in something, it produces purpose. So that's what I want to talk about and spend the rest of the time talking about the middle part of James 2, which, by the way, I may be doing a series on James here in the coming weeks. Haven't decided completely yet, but leave in the comments, whether here on YouTube or on Facebook or wherever, if you have any ideas of what I should do next. If you would be interested in a James breakdown, it could take a really long time, or I could go chapter by chapter. I don't know yet, but just thinking out loud. So anyway, little sidebar there. But back to James and what it says in chapter 2. It says that faith produces works. Faith produces purpose in our lives. When we have real faith, it gives us purpose. It motivates us. It drives us to something. And that hope creates something in us, births something in us, so that we live lives of purpose. And if it's not doing that, then is it really faith? And that's the challenge that James puts forth in chapter 2 when he's talking about what faith is and what faith accomplishes and what faith does. And at one point he even says, you say that you believe, good for you. Even the demons believe. It's kind of a slap in the face when you think about it. And so as Christians, we need to understand, as Christ followers, following's an action, right? We're supposed to be actively doing something. Believing is all well and good, but believing is not faith. They're two very different things. I can believe something and do absolutely nothing about it. But if I truly have faith in something or someone, that's going to drive me. I'm going to come to that thing or that person's defense. I'm going to affirm or confirm that I have that conviction, that convincing in my life. That's what faith does. That's what faith produces in us. Then he says something very tongue-in-cheek, which I love this about James. There's a little bit of sarcasm in the statement where he says, show me your faith without your works, and I'll show you my faith by my works. He's not saying that works is what saves. Faith is what saves. But faith that saves produces works. So what are we doing to prove our faith? The reason I say that it's tongue-in-cheek, as he says that, he says, show me your faith without works. How can anybody possibly do that? How do you show somebody something without doing anything, without having something to represent what it is you're trying to show. It's just this kind of play on words, and James, I feel like, is having a little bit of fun with his readers, where he says, you show me your faith without your works. How? How is that even possible? So then he follows up, I'll show you my faith by my works. I'll show you that I believe. I'll show you that I have this expectant hope that motivates me, that has produced a purpose for my life. So that's what I want to talk about and really conclude with in this video. If you're a person of faith, are you living it? Has it created a purpose for your life? If it hasn't, is it really faith? If you haven't done that, if you're still one of those people that it's like, what is the purpose of life? And, you know, in some kind of an existential crisis, or maybe you're not that far yet, but you're just kind of wondering and have questions or doubts. I want to challenge you with that. Do you have faith? Because Jesus has already accomplished everything. God has graced us with the gift of salvation. And we can put our faith, our expectant hope in that. And when you do, when you truly do, sincerely, it will produce something that is beyond yourself, that is beyond this world. It will produce inside you the very purpose that you were created for. That's it for this video. Again, if you have any ideas for where to go next, I would love to hear those, and just share those thoughts with me in the comments, whether you're seeing this on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. But thanks for watching, and stay tuned.